what constitutes as a successful A/B test? Now, you might be saying, Ayat, we're not here for A/B tests. We're here for low-hanging fruits. But I always like to say that A/B testing is just a tool under the umbrella of conversion rate optimization. It is something that we use to measure a successful change or optimization that I do on my website. So that's why I like to always talk about A/B testing. But if you look at some of the top leaders within the industry, Optimizely, they're here, VWO, and Google, they all report that actually the amount of A/B tests that are successful are very low. 10%, this is Google Optimize, 25% for Optimizely, and 12% for VWO. So it's a little bit surprising that all these programs, all these companies that are doing testing, but the results are not that great, and only the number of succeeding experiments is very low. Now, for us, actually, we're able to deliver 45 successful experiments with at least a 65% average in conversion rates. And you might be thinking, how? And that's why I'm here, right? Successful conversion rate optimization programs, what can they teach us? What can we do to apply within your own organizations? So how do we do it? First, every single successful program follows a process. So we have this cute little acronym, SHIP, something very easy for you guys all to remember, because number one is it stands for scrutinize, hypothesize, implement, and propagate, but also because we ship experiments all the time, right? We're always shipping experiments, so if you are a developer, you'd probably get that. And the nice thing about it is, again, there's a lot of emphasis. If you guys see the scrutinize phase, there's a lot of emphasis in that research phase, because that's a key part of CRO. You need to do the research, you need to do the legwork, you need to understand your customers, you need to we conduct something very specific called JTBD interviews to understand a little bit more about the customers. We conduct expert reviews, user research, data analysis, in order for us to come up with a really good plan and come up with something that's going to actually optimize our clients' experiences. And we like to look for, everybody wants the home run, the 100% increase in conversion rate, but it's really hard to get to, right? But we're looking for consistency. You want that, consistent generation of increasing conversion rates. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for 5%, then 7%, and then a 10% uplift in every single experiment that we conduct. And we're always optimizing, understanding more, and then feeding that back into the program. So we can make sure that whatever we do launch is a successful experiment. It's backed with data, and we've understood the customer. We've tested so much. We've learned from them, and as a result, we are optimizing our program. So I always like to tell people come to sometimes either workshops that I conduct or talks, and they're like, where's the best practices list? Let's see. And you guys heard from today in the keynotes, they were saying, hey, don't follow the competitors. That is something that you want to kind of get away from. Be your own voice, be your own type of company in order for you really to stand out. You're always looking for that repeatable, sustainable growth, and you're not going to get that unless you dig in to your own data, your own customers, and understand from them, and that way you can kind of generate those uplifts that we're looking for. We conduct something called a benchmark report for our clients just to kind of gauge, hey, where's your site at? The customer voice, the brand voice, all of these different things. We try to measure where is that at. And on average, our clients have a D. So the way that we usually measure is we say you either get an A, a B, a D, or an E. There's no C. There's no middle ground. So there's no lack of confusion. Everybody kind of knows exactly where they stand. And that really helps us understand, okay, this is where you're at, this is where your company's at, and this gives us a sense of what we need to do to optimize the site. There are different types of changes. We're looking for, again, all sorts of changes on your website, right? You're going to go deep, and you're also going to be improving the overall experience. So the way that we kind of look at it is your first thing is, of course, the bugs. If there are bugs, they need to be fixed. Don't run an A/B test on a bug. If it's broke, there's no need to actually test it. I'll assure you, if it's a bug and you fix it, you're going to see an improvement. So there's no need to actually test something like that. But then there are usability fixes. People sometimes might think that that doesn't fall under CRO, but it definitely does. And a lot of our experimentation is a balance between CRO, which is very focused on persuasion, and usability, which is more focused on, hey, I need to create a better user experience for the customer. And that's where a lot of those low-hanging fruits are within that usability section. So what we always recommend is you want to be conducting research and at the same time hitting some of those low-hanging fruits at the same time and running some A/B tests, because even within running your different A/B tests, you're going to be learning about your customer, and you're going to be able to feed that information into your overall CRO program. Number one tip for you when I want to start low-hanging fruits, I have to think about technology. All right, everybody has Google Analytics, but what we found is, again, like when I talk about data research, it includes, of course, user research, but also, of course, analytics, heat maps, session recording, funnel analysis. These are all important components of my research. But we found that 90% of marketing executives complain that they don't look at data regularly. 90%. That's a huge number. And think about it. Like, you have so many tools in your tool shed, but how many of you guys sit down and really analyze that data? And that's one of the things. So this percentage is from a pain point survey that we give our clients as well, because we need to understand their pain points, right? So one of the questions that we ask them is, what are some of the issues when it comes to technology, when it comes to marketing, research, and reporting? What do you find? And they say that 90% of them complain that they don't look at the data regularly. They have it at their fingertips, and there's so much of it, but they don't actually utilize it.